Hi there, I am Sarah Colas. Welcome to the Dressing Up podcast, where we talk about all things bridal, dresses, and general dressing up topics. I love to encourage women to dress up while expressing their personal style with confidence on how to do so. Visit sarahcolas.com to book a bridal alterations fitting or even inquire about designing the custom couture bridal gown of your dreams. I'm so excited to talk to you about this next topic. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode. Okay, this is the beginning of a new series that I'm really excited about, and I think a lot of people are really excited about this. I'm doing a Real Bride series, so all the brides that I've worked with in the past, I reached out to them asking if they wanted to be on the Dressing Up podcast and just chit-chat a little bit about their wedding. Because what wife doesn't want to reminisce about that big day? It's such a big moment in your life. You plan such a big event. You put so much energy, time, and money into this one day. And it really is only just one day. And there's so much talk about it leading up to it. And then the day is absolutely incredible and perfect in your own way, of course. But it's always fun to think back about it, even, weeks, months, or even years later. And the three brides that I have scheduled today are going to be fabulous. First, we have bride Alexa from 2021. I altered her bridal gown. She was incredible. I remember her so well. And her and I are going to talk about some of the things that have happened post-wedding for her and how her wedding took her life onto a whole new journey. And it's been so fun to talk about her wedding years later and be able to see it kind of from that unique viewpoint. Then we have bride Tara. I always have called her my Fashionista Bride. She is fabulous. She is so much fun. I love all the dresses that she wore. I mean, they were adorable. She brought me a bunch of dresses in addition to her wedding gown to alter. And her mom was there. I altered her dress. They are just a hoot. Love them. And then bride Rachel. You're going to need to stay tuned and listen to hers because where she got her wedding dress from is quite unique, and absolutely loved working with her and all the things we did with her gown. So be sure to listen to all of these fabulous women talk about one of the most important days of their life. And I'll bet a lot of you were sent this link from one of these brides. So this might be your first time listening to the podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I am based in Northville, Michigan, but I serve, of course, the whole country with lots of different kinds of projects, but especially wedding dress alterations in the Detroit, Midwest area and beyond. So I'm so glad you're here. I bet there's a lot of you, first time listening to this episode, you know what would make me so happy? Just rate and review the podcast. I know you hear that on all the podcasts that you listen to, but maybe make today the actual day that you actually do that. Okay, that would help us out a lot. And it would help out these brides and kind of get this episode a little bit more attention. So that could be kind of fun. Before I get into diving in deep with these incredible women, I want to talk about a few things I've been up to lately. So as you know, my sister Angela is getting married in June. I am making her wedding gown in addition to her whole wedding wardrobe. So we just did a fitting with her for the very first time yesterday. We're calling it her first mock dress fitting. So I typically only do one mock dress, but with her and trying to decide on some things, I'm going to order some samples of fabric and I'm going to do another mock dress that's going to be slightly tweaked. And we're going to try that on again. So I'm really excited about that project. That's going to keep me busy all winter. We've got some really exciting, fun podcasts that have been out lately. The one about my mom recently, that one was a hoot. Love that one. I am working in the wintertime. In my bridal alterations off season this year, I'm trying to get more and more into podcasting and being a little bit more of a regular podcaster than I have been in the past. So without further ado, let's get after it and let's chit chat with some of these incredible women. First up is Alexa. Hey, Alexa.
Hey,
Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to see your face. How are
I
you doing?
I'm good. I feel like it's been so long.
I
Although
know.
it has been so long, but I follow you, so I feel like it hasn't at the same time.
Oh, thank you. My goodness, you got married 2021,
I know.
right?
I
3 years
know.
ago now. You have a little baby now.
I know. Time
Oh,
goes so fast.
oh my gosh.
I know.
How exciting. Wow. I'm so glad you booked a podcast. You're
I
actually the first person of this whole series.
really?
So, yes, yes, I just this winter decided, okay, I'm going to interview real brides I've worked with before, and yours happens to be the first one. So, thanks for being here.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I was actually when you sent out that email, I was like, that's a really good idea
Yeah,
to
thanks.
to have like past brides, give their 2 cents and give
Yeah.
their, suggestions
I
or
feel like
whatnot.
future brides will love this
Oh
and
yeah,
learn from you
for
guys.
sure.
So, this
For
is
sure.
awesome. Yay. Well, I'm excited, Alexa. I've got some questions for you. Are you ready?
I am as ready as I can be.
Great. Okay, so there's one question I asked all of my podcast guests, which is what is your favorite item in your closet right now?
Honestly, it's the sweater. It,
Really? Oh, good. You wore it today.
I reach for it more than I thought I would, and I feel like it goes with and well, it's in season obviously right now, but it goes with jeans, it goes with satin pants, it goes with dress pants.
Yeah,
So yeah, this striped sweater that I'm wearing right now.
I love it. So cozy. I know. I'm wearing
Yeah,
a white sweater as well.
it's just sweater
That time of
season.
year. There's snow on the ground. It's great.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Now, if you could relive one moment of your wedding day, what would that be?
I would say just walking down the aisle again and, with my dad walking down the aisle and then seeing my mom, seeing my family, seeing all of like the people that are close to us and friends, and then finally like seeing my husband at the end of the aisle. That's always the moment is that kind of sticks in my mind the most. It was just like the most kind of breathtaking moment, I
Yeah,
think. And I planned my wedding, and so
we're gonna
all
talk
the
about that.
details and all the planning and the back and
Yeah,
forth, emails and phone calls and things like that, it kind of all comes down to like one that moment,
that
and it's
moment. Oh,
so
so big.
like all of your work that you've done to plan for this is happening, and I think that's like one of the most memorable things from my wedding is just kind of walking down the aisle and kind of taking it all in and experiencing, wow, like I'm getting married.
Yeah. Like this is
This is
actually what it's
it.
all
This is what
about.
being Yes, this is what
Yeah.
being married is feeling like
How
right
it
now.
starts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I want to make sure I mentioned with you specifically about your wedding planning company. This is
Yes.
something you
So
started, I think, right after your wedding.
I did. So I actually that's my field, like my actual field of work. I went to
Hmm.
school for event management. And
Uh-huh.
so after I planned my wedding, I thought, "Oh, wow, this is something like
Kind of
I
fun.
want to do." And I only did it on the side, so it wasn't actually anything that I took full time.
Mhm.
And in my first year, I believe I booked 5 weddings. And
Wow. Yeah.
so the wedding business actually is not right now because I have my daughter. And so
Yeah.
I'm not taking the wedding when I know that I was going to be pregnant
Yeah.
and things like that. So,
Timing stuff.
but yes, I planned weddings after that, and again, it's that same moment of seeing the bride go down the aisle is just like, oh, like we made it.
We did
And
it.
seeing her in her dress
Mhm.
and seeing everyone react to that, and then I think one of the biggest things that I really loved about that is just the love that is experienced that day, whether it's between the bride and groom,
All the people
or between the
celebrating her.
families, or mom and dad,
Yeah.
or brothers and sisters, or family that they haven't probably seen in a long time. That's like one of the best parts, I think, that I loved about like wedding planning was just seeing the love that's shown, whether it be through emotion or even decor, even decor. So yeah.
I love that. That's great. And was now this could be interesting for you. So what was the most challenging aspect of wedding planning for your own wedding?
I think like now that I've had a lot of time to like look back, and obviously as an events person, you can always look back on an event and think of all the different things that you would do differently or change. So there was that
Yeah.
for a long time. But I think the hardest thing was being the person planning it and then at some points not being able to enjoy the planning, being the bride. I don't know. There was
Yeah.
stressful moments. I don't know if that makes sense or not,
No,
but
I actually know exactly what you're saying. My husband and I always joked at the time and also looking back that we wish we had been guests at our own wedding
yes,
to like enjoy the experience that we were providing to our guests. But when you're the bride and groom,
yes,
you're doing so many other things, so you
right,
don't get to fully
right.
just embrace like the party itself. But I get
Yes,
it.
it's hard having the event person mindset, like, because I have that background. It's
Yeah.
hard having that mindset when you're going through like your wedding and turning that off. I think that's kind of what was hard for me. And even
Yeah, it
on
probably
that
felt
day,
like
it's like,
work a little bit for you.
and shout out to Low and Co Event Design. She was my day of coordinator, so she helped, make sure things ran smoothly. But it's still at the end of the day, it's hard to turn off that event person mindset and just kind of enjoying your day. And I enjoyed it. That I'm not saying that I didn't. I thoroughly enjoyed our wedding day. It went off so smoothly. But yeah, I think the planning background part of it was probably my biggest like stressor.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Well, that was so good that I think that there can be people like you that have some experience in either weddings or the event industry and just thinking you can do it all yourself. But I
Yes.
like that
It's
you had the intelligence to know that you can't on your wedding day. So you event
right.
coordinator yourself. That is so good.
Yes, and I didn't want to either. It's like I didn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
have to be the one to have to stop and fix something or I wanted to enjoy my day and I wanted to enjoy it with my husband and my family and things like that. So yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about your wedding dress. And I want to
Yes.
know mostly, especially because I think future brides will enjoy this. How, on your wedding day, how did you feel in your wedding dress?
So I felt perfect. And I was nervous, not because of anything that alterations wise. I was nervous because my wedding was at the end of August and you never know what the weather is going to be, whether it's going to be blazing hot or, it could be cold. Not freezing cold, but it could be really cold depending on your dress style. And so that was honestly my biggest worry was that I'm going to sweat so bad, my makeup's going to fall off. And it like the alterations of it was perfect and I didn't sweat at all.
Good, good. Remind me where you got your dress from.
The wedding shop.
The
And
wedding shop. Okay, awesome. And
yeah.
then you came to me for alterations. That was fabulous. That
Yes.
was at my old place. So you haven't seen my new
Oh,
studio, but I mean, you can see it behind me.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're ever in the area, let me know.
Yeah, I
Show.
would so it's I've loved seeing how you have progressed since then. And I think
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. I think this podcast is such a good idea and
Thank
all of
you.
the avenues that you've taken since then I think
Yeah.
are really good.
I've
So
been doing I've actually been running my business like on the side since 2012, but after COVID, like starting with really the year you got married, like there were so many weddings going on. So
yeah,
it really was a good time to really like dive deep into my business.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's
a real
awesome.
beginning. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or mention while we still have a few minutes?
I I did write some things down
Yeah.
actually. I remember at the time because it was kind of like we were coming out of COVID and there was always like this fear of your dress, like you not like ordering your dress on time because it was so backlogged and ordering. And one thing I would suggest for brides now, and I'm sure, and maybe it's still like this, I'm not sure if it's still
It was,
suggested
yeah,
that
that was a
you,
crazy time when you got your dress.
yes, is to just make sure that you do try to give yourself time to order your dress because I know I was kind of on the cusp of like yes, my alterations were good, and that's the other thing I loved about you is that I wasn't sure how long alterations were going to take. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was panicking,
Oh,
trying to find someone. And when I believe I was on a bridal page and someone had suggested your Facebook page or your website. I can't remember what it was at the time, but one of the things that really like kept me at peace was just your website
oh my gosh,
and
that's awesome.
you
Thank you.
being able to show like what you've done.
Yeah.
And I'll admit I'm pretty picky when it comes to, something like that where I want it to fit
Trusting
me. I
someone.
want,
Hmm.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. Like,
Yeah.
is this going to work out?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a little scary, when you
Yeah.
aren't familiar with where to take your dress or things like that. And so what's really helpful, I think, for future brides at least is, with you document everything. And so you're showing your work, you're showing what you do. And that was really helpful in me, wanting to book you for my alterations because it turned out perfectly. I think we had one meeting
Hmm.
and then I came back for another fitting and it was good to go. Nothing else like needed to be done. And of course,
Go.
the event person in me was like, man, like I could have done, I could have like put something from my mom's dress in my,
Oh, adding more,
like that's how
going more and more and more because we have time.
yes,
Oh.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
That is all
so
so sweet of you. And I really appreciate that feedback because I like knowing what makes people feel comfortable
yeah,
when, looking for someone like me. So I really appreciate you saying those words. So thank
yeah.
you
And
for
I think it built it like at least for me, it's like I'm always reading reviews on things before I kind of pull the trigger on something.
that. Yeah.
And just having the photos and the testimonials and
I feel
review.
like even back in 2021, it was a lot more minimal than what I have up there now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so I'm
it was. It
trying.
was, but
Oh,
it was
yeah.
enough.
It
It
was
was
enough.
enough
Okay.
for
Yeah.
me to, like, oh my gosh, she's done this work. She's done, Fashion Week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was right around that time. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So so yeah, I think that's really helpful is to just to you can when brides are booking with you, I think it's really great that you can build that trust with them. So
Thank you,
um
Alexa. I appreciate that.
yeah. I think back to because you asked me about what I loved about my wedding dress, right?
Or how you felt in it,
How I
but yeah.
felt in it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Just something to add in that. The alterations were perfect. Like I had nothing, after that. I mean, that really fit like a glove. And
That's the
the
goal.
rest of, yeah, and the bustle worked out
I
perfectly.
think we
And
did a French bustle for yours, if I
yes,
remember right. Okay,
yes,
yeah.
we did. And
I love a French
I think
bustle.
it turned out so good. But I, it was the perfect length. And the other thing that I would suggest is obviously I know you preach this at the top of your lungs, but bringing your shoes
Yes.
and even undergarments, whatever you're going to wear underneath, I think is
100%. Yep.
super, super helpful in
Hmm.
determining how you're going to look and feel and how the dress is going to look and feel that day. Um,
Gosh, you could run ads for me, Alexa. You're like my spokeswoman. Bring your shoes. You know all these things. I love it.
well, it's so true. It's so, so true.
Well, I am so happy that you've stayed connected. I mean, I
Yeah.
still follow you on socials, so it's just so cool that we can still, even 3 years later, come back and do this. So I'm just so glad you signed up for this podcast, and I'm excited
Yeah.
for uh, people to listen in and hear a little bit more about your wedding story.
Right. Well, thanks, Sarah. Thanks for
Yeah.
providing past brides with being able to kind of relive their day and kind of
No,
tell their wedding story. And
whatever we can do
that's
to like drag it out because
yeah.
I'm like 5.5 years past married now, and I'm like, I still think about my wedding all the
I
time.
know. I know there's partly, yeah, like
We want to
there's
relive it.
yes. I know you want to just like relive like the happiness of that day again and
Hmm.
everyone being around each other and you know.
But
spending time with
filled
each
with
other.
your
And it was
favorite
just,
people.
it's just so fun.
So
So,
fun. So,
yeah.
brides listening to this, embrace where you are right now. Even if you're stressed out, even if you're
Yes.
worried about things, you're gonna miss it someday, believe it or not.
I know. And it's
Look
so
at us.
cliche. Yeah. The saying is so cliche, but everything is going to work out.
Everything will work out.
Especially your wedding dress alterations with
This
Sarah.
is correct. It'll all work out. Your dress will fit perfectly. I am
Yeah.
here to make sure that happens.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Alexa. It was so great talking to
Yeah.
you.
All right. Well, sounds
Thank,
good. Thanks, Sarah. This was
thank.
fun.
Okay, awesome, Tara. Well, I'm so excited to hear a little bit about your wedding. How did everything go?
Oh my goodness. Of course, everyone keeps asking that question, and I just keep saying, like, it was magic. Like, it was perfect. It was so great. And when I say perfect, I don't mean like that everything went
Actually
perfectly.
perfect. Right.
Yeah, it just
Mhm.
was like it all happened how it was supposed to and what we dreamt of, and it was just really great.
Oh, I love that. I love that definition of perfect because I feel like that to me is the true definition of like, it doesn't mean everything went exactly how it was supposed to. It just means it was perfect and how exactly it played out. I love that.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, so we're on the Dressing Up podcast after all, and there are a lot of listeners that aren't engaged or getting married and all that. So I like to ask this general fashion question, which I'm sure you're going to have awesome answers. What is your favorite item in your closet right now?
Oh my goodness, this is a great question and so hard.
I'm sure your closet is so cute. You're my fashionista bride. Like I've loved everything you bring in, so I'm sure it's really cute.
I I think my favorite is actually a different dress that you altered that I wore for my rehearsal dinner.
Is that the tweed one?
No, that was for the brunch.
Yes. Okay.
Uh-huh. So that was the one that was had like the bow here with the
Oh,
rhinestones in the middle. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Such a good one. That was so cute. How
Yeah.
did you end up styling it? Like what purse did you wear and everything?
So I actually used the green bag that I was using for my wedding. So I used those for rehearsal
Perfect.
and the wedding day. And my friend had a pair of earrings that she was like, she was here helping me kind of get my outfits together. You met Crystal. And she had this pair of earrings and she goes, I think I have the perfect pair in my car. They've been in my cup holder for like 2 years, but I think that's what you need.
I love that. We hold on to things for a reason. We just don't know why yet.
Which isn't very her or me to just like have these old pair of earrings, but they were just perfect. And so I liked that I was able to enjoy the styling part and create looks, but not like overly fuss too much.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And your gown was more of like a little bit of simple elegance. Can you tell us a little bit about your dress, where you got it? And then we need to talk about your shoes.
Sounds good. So I got my dress at Bombshell Bridal Boutique in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And I was super excited to go, but also a little apprehensive. I was excited because I knew that they were very size inclusive and there would be a lot to try. Hopefully that would fit my body in a way that like I could get a sense for the dress more than just them holding it up and saying like we can order it in your size but you can't even try it on. And so I had a great experience and there was plenty for me to try on that were similar to what I wanted, but there was a variety. It wasn't like this is the only one this way. So the dress was, I think I would say like classic but elevated. So kind of a pointed neckline, but not overly pointed, strapless, which I didn't expect, a Mikado fabric with a really full skirt and long train, and then this really cool bow in the back that was placed like sort of more towards like my lower thigh and knees when the train was down, which
That
was
was
really cool.
different. That
Yeah,
was very different. I love that. So for everyone listening, her bow was not at her waist. It was down low on this big train. It was down low. Loved that.
it was cool. It was really
And then
cool.
when it bustled, it was like we brought the bow up and everything just bustled up together. So cute.
Yeah, it was really fun. And then I sort of just jazzed it up a little, Tara, like with a very cool headband that was like bold rhinestones, and I wear headbands a lot, so that was fun. And I did pretty minimal jewelry, which is actually not me. I like a lot of accessories, but this day I just kind of wanted the dress to be the star. So it was really fun.
Wow. And the shoes.
And the shoes.
The shoes were so good.
So I was very fortunate that I found a gown that was much below my price range, like really affordable, probably because I didn't have a lot of lace or rhinestones. And so I was like, oh, this is the time to get really amazing shoes that I can wear again. And so, yeah, it was a big splurge and really fun to get some awesome Prada slingback, like ivory, very classic, simple pumps. And
they were leather, right?
They were like a patent leather. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So pretty. I'm always jealous of that because my wedding shoes were $20 off the clearance section at DSW. And I always like regretted not doing that little bit more splurge just on myself, you know, like
Yeah.
not even many people know about it, but it's just like, oh, those are my wedding shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. And who knows? I'm sure brides say this all the time. I've only been married for 2 months, so I don't know. But my hope is that I will actually wear them again sometime. They're
I'm
cute
sure
to
you will.
church. They'd be cute to Christmas. Like they're pretty classic. So
Yeah. And if or when you ever have kids, if you have a daughter, like she could wear those shoes for one of her wedding events. Like how awesome would that be? So
totally.
hold on to them. They'll age well. Yeah. Okay, so if you had to relive one moment on your wedding day, when would that be?
Oh,
Aside from the whole thing, I know.
oh, that's so hard. I think maybe our first look.
Yeah.
And we did our first look kind of in a fun way to us. We got married in a church. And so we decided to have our first look in the sanctuary so that I could walk down the aisle and we could just like be in the moment without anyone else there. And I wore a blusher veil. And so I was like, I need to help Seth know how to take the veil off when I come down the aisle.
You need a practice round.
So it was very sweet. It was just us and our photographer. I came down the aisle and Seth maybe waited for me to get about halfway and then he started walking quickly toward me. And I said to him, like, you can't even wait for me to get to the end. And he said, no, I've been waiting 36 years. I'm ready. So it was very sweet. And then, yeah, we sat and just chit chatted for probably like 20 minutes about how'd your day go and what have you been up to and how are you feeling? And then we lit some candles and said some prayers for our grandparents who weren't able to be with us. And so it was just really special to kind of connect before I felt way less nervous after seeing him.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Another thing I didn't do a first look. I am jealous of everyone that does that. It sounds like it's a really nice moment.
We went back and forth. It's such a hard decision
It
because
is.
I'm sure it's also a really nice moment to just like see your person and have that anticipation all day. So we kind of tried to recreate, like do that first look moment that we were wanting when we came down the aisle.
Yes, exactly. So for you, what was the most challenging aspect of wedding planning?
Okay, I think that Seth and I are kind of the outliers here and that we didn't find wedding planning to be very hard.
Of course you didn't, Tara. You are perfect. I love it.
That is not true. I was thinking about like one of the questions that you had sent ahead of recording together today was just thinking about a tip you would have for a bride. And so this sort of goes in line. We spent a lot of time thinking about how we wanted to feel on our wedding day. And so that guided a ton of our decisions and that made it less stressful because we wanted to feel connected to each other and connected to our guests and just be present. And so when it was like, what decision do we make? We were just able to say like, what's going to help us feel the most connected and the most present instead of like, what is the best thing? Because there's so many best things. Like it's really fun to take like very fancy, elegant photos and have tons of different places that you pose, but that wasn't going to help us feel present. So I was able to just be like, let's not do that. So I think probably then the most stressful is when we would kind of have to get pulled out of that to more of the like logistic pieces and feeling like, how do we communicate this to everybody and make sure that this is well thought out? But it wasn't that stressful for us because we just made a
Wow.
decision not to let it be.
Well, you really anchored in on what this whole day is about. And I think it's easy to forget that.
Mm-hmm.
So good job for both of you for staying true to what you wanted on that day and
Yeah.
not letting the chaos of everything get the best of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And I
amazing.
think that helped us communicate to people who we are very fortunate. We had really supportive parents and loved ones who were like, do your thing. And I know not everybody has that experience, but if there was like no, I don't think we want to do that, it was helpful to be able to explain this is why we want to feel connected and present. And we're afraid that's going to take away from that. And then people are a little bit more like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Next question. How did you feel in your wedding dress on your wedding day?
Mm, I felt like a bride.
Oh,
So people were like, "Did you feel like a princess?" And I was like, "No, I felt like a bride. Like I had never had
yeah.
that
Even
experience
better. Yeah.
where, yeah, it was its own thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally me in this dress, and I'm going to be with our loved ones and marry this person that I just admire and respect so much." And so, yeah, I felt beautiful. I felt comfortable. Like that was a priority.
Yeah.
I felt like myself. And so, yeah, it was really fun to feel like a bride.
Oh, I love that. Well, I have to say, I was always so excited for our appointments together. Like, people like you are the reason I love my job so much. Like, I genuinely felt like I was playing dress up with you. Like, that's the best thing. You had all these cute outfits you brought in. I altered like your rehearsal dinner. I can't remember all the dresses, but there were a bunch of white dresses and your mom's dress, and seeing you two together was so cute. Oh,
Mhm.
it was just so much fun. So thank you for trusting me with your dress. I am so honored to have helped you in that way. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, you made it really special for me and for my mom and I together. And so I just really appreciate, yeah, it felt very fun when we came to the studio.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about or touch on before we end this podcast?
I think just gratitude, like really just appreciate how comfortable you made me feel. And that
Oh.
was probably my only worry, like heading into wedding planning in a dress was like, I want to feel safe and comfortable in my body. And you just really helped me put the finishing touches together and just treated me like every other beautiful bride. And it was really
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, Tara, don't make me cry this morning. My goodness. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying those words. That's what this is all about, right? That's what, you want to feel like a bride and feel your most beautiful, and that's the most important thing to me in my job. So I'm just lucky to be able to work with people like you. So
You crushed it.
thanks, Tara. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. This has been incredible. And good luck with newlywed life. 2 months in. Doing
Thanks,
good.
Sarah.
2 months
Thanks,
and strong.
Sarah.
Yes. Thanks, Tara. Hey, Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So good. You're a wife now.
I am.
You're all married and everything. Oh my goodness.
It is pretty fun, although it is also kind of funnier. I was just practicing my music before joining you, and the last song I was singing was this sweet little girl who has never been in love before. She wants it so bad.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Well, I'm excited to talk about your wedding. Are you just over the moon with how everything went? How did it go?
It was wonderful, honestly. Although there was this one funny moment. So we were we had a reception at the golf course, and at this specific golf course there was an option for a golf cart entrance with the bridal party. And so I guess they must have gotten some new models because as we were riding in to make our entrance, we hit this barrier force field, don't know what you want to call it, but basically the machines stop because you're not allowed to go past this barrier
I
normally. The
understand.
people
Yes.
the people at the wedding don't get
Yes.
over.
Yes. Gotcha.
So they got that sorted out for the first half of the line, but then the two carts with our maid of honor, best man, and then Keaton and myself we got stuck and everyone kept going and didn't notice us. So Keaton has the idea to reverse to follow everyone because the cart will allow you to reverse because they want you to get out of there. So he just turned it around and we rode backwards. Hi! Waving to everybody.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but you made it there, right?
And it was funny, and I heard some people afterwards saying, like, it was really funny when you guys came in backwards.
Oh my gosh. That's an entrance.
It's a fun story.
Yes, it is. That's so fun. Okay, so my first question for you is going to be a little bit more fashion related. And it is, what is your favorite item in your closet right now?
I would say my wedding dress, but that was sent off to get properly packaged. So aside from that, oh, it's this red coat that I have. It's kind of steampunk Victorian-esque in silhouette with like a ruffled collar down and buttons in front, and it's bright red with some slightly puffed sleeves.
Oh, I love that. That sounds fabulous. This time of year is great for that coat. Oh, that's awesome.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's great. So if you could relive one moment on your wedding day, when would that be?
So I sang a song called Je ne pas de moi at the reception to Keaton, and it was the one time he cried a single tear down his cheek.
Oh, that's
Oh,
so
I
sweet.
felt so accomplished.
You're like, finally, I got a tear. That's great. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think you need to tell our listeners where you got your wedding dress from.
My mom. She had this beautiful dress with like really poofy princess sleeves, a lovely beaded bodice, lots of lace and other things down her skirt. Oh, it was gorgeous. I knew ever since I was a little girl I wanted to wear that dress. My mom was like, hold on, you might want to see other dresses, and like encouraged me because she didn't want me to be like hooked on, I
Mhm.
have to wear this. There
Yep.
was one other dress that I wore that I was tempted, but I was still like, I still prefer yours.
Aw. And what year did she get married?
I forget the exact year, but she was a 90s bride.
She was a 90s bride, early 90s, I'm sure.
Early 90s. It was
With the
like,
style.
I want to say it was either like 88 or like 91, some
Yep.
in that time
in that
frame.
in that era of the poof sleeves and all the things. But yeah, how special is it? We of course made a lot of like fitting adjustments so it fit you perfectly, but we didn't change the style that much, which I feel like
Oh,
was very unique for you. Just because usually when people want to wear their mom's dress, they like want to change it completely, but you really wanted to honor what was already there. So I love that. That's awesome. And you had a, not by me, but I suggested to you and you went to get a custom corset made.
I did. The
Yeah,
custom corset was really fun. Although I did have to drive like 3 hours to see this lady from
really?
where I live. So I just had to plan that out well.
Yes, I believe the woman's name was Ivy Corsetry.
Mm-hmm. She
So
made
yeah.
sure that it was not only something that I could wear under my dress, but honestly, if I hadn't had my mom, I probably would have said, screw it, let's go to the courthouse.
She
I
did a lot for you. I can tell, yes.
hate dealing with like all of these tiny little things that I don't care about. So like I would be asked, which style of napkin do you want? And I'm like, why do we need a style of napkin? Just get the white ones. I don't care. Or what do you think that we should do as like, oh my gosh, what was another one that I think it was deciding tableware, like that was quick enough, but it was just the little details or like what favor are you going to do? It just kind of felt like there are more and more favors and things that I constantly had to do once I felt like I had everything squared away. There's just little things after that just irritated me.
Just
I was like,
compliance.
I
Yes.
want the dress. I want lots of flowers. I want my friends and family there. I want to sing, and I would like it to be an indoor outdoor venue. Beyond that, I was like, I don't care. I don't want to get hooked up on the details. I want to enjoy the day. Things are going to go wrong. I'm not getting hung up on all this stuff.
Thank God for moms. She did great. She did incredible.
She was a wonderful help. I am very grateful because, hopefully we only ever get married once.
That's
So it's
the
not
whole
like we've
idea.
ever
Yeah.
had practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. Now, let me ask you this question. So, when you were actually there on your wedding day in your gown, how did you feel?
Excited.
Yeah.
And also, honestly, kind of like, yay, wedding planning is over.
Yes. Like we actually get to the fun part.
Mhm.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, did you guys go on a honeymoon?
We did. We went to Hawaii, but it was like a couple of weeks after the wedding itself. Uh, for a while there, we thought Keaton was actually going to have to go away on a work trip literally a day or two after the wedding. That ended up not happening,
Oh, good.
but
Yeah.
that was kind of annoying.
Yep. Yep, for sure. Like, how are we supposed to plan a vacation around this? Absolutely. Okay, well, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any tips for future brides or anything else you want to talk about?
Well, honestly, first of all, just if you want things to be like you decide what's important for you, advocate for that, but like don't push on other things. Like for example, I didn't care what the hairstyle of my bridesmaids were or whatever. I basically said, as long as it's neat, your hair is freshly done. Like I didn't want them walking down the aisle with bubblegum pink hair and a blue dress. But I was like, if you want to dye your hair blue, I don't care.
Yeah.
Just as long as it goes with the dress. I'm like, I get one day if you want to do fun stuff with your hair. I don't care.
Yep. Yep.
That's
Yep.
actually what my little sister did. She was gorgeous, by the way. She looked like a little mermaid.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I
Oh,
just
that's
kind of
awesome.
jokingly told them, as long as you all look like my little fairies, I'm happy.
So good. So good.
As for like other things, so I mentioned the flowers were really important. So I have a couple of ways that I'm like preserving them.
Oh my goodness,
Got
look at
this little red
that.
flower set with one of our wedding photos in it. We found a lady on Instagram. She was near us, so if anyone wants to do this, they'll have to find someone near them
Yeah.
because.
What's the name of that girl so people can look it up?
All right, so the account that I got it from is called Treasured Florals on Instagram. So that was one thing that I did. She was very nice, and I was able to so I actually went in and kind of micromanaged a little bit here. I drew out exactly where I wanted the flowers to go and sent that to her.
She probably
And
loved that. Yeah, the clarity.
And another thing I did, just kind of with extra flowers, I've pressed them and I'm going to put them in a frame.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, you
Okay,
just have to sandwich them between like two sheets of paper under like a stack of heavy books for a couple of weeks, and then they're nicely preserved.
gosh, that's perfect. So I know some people listen to our podcast on YouTube and a lot of people just listen. So I'm going to explain a little bit what she was just showing us. It was this block of her wedding florals with it looked like a wedding photo kind of in the background. And then also she pressed her own florals. So I love the concept of preserving your bridal bouquet. Like that's so sweet. I love that. So Rachel, I hear that you have a YouTube account yourself. Do you want to share what that is?
Yes, I do. It's a small account right now, but it's called Giovanna Rossini. That's my artist name that I use as a singer. I do a lot, I upload recordings of me singing, and I'll also do kind of history videos related to music, maybe specific operas, or just funny little tidbits that have happened in music history. Because let me tell you, when you get into the history of artists, things can get wild.
I bet. I bet. Yeah. So it sounds like Rachel, and I'm kind of learning this about you now, but you're very into music. It sounds like I didn't know that much about
Mhm.
you before,
I
but
have
that's
two
amazing.
degrees, one in vocal performance, the other one is in film and video production. So
Oh, wow. Oh, that's awesome.
I'm actually preparing an audition for a professional production of Ride the Cyclone. So we'll see where that goes.
Oh my
But
gosh, that's amazing. Oh, I wish you luck in that. That's incredible. How
I
cool.
did.
Very creative. I love that. Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for not only letting me alter your gown and your mom's gown, essentially, and trusting me with that process, but also being on the podcast today. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks, Rachel. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, wow, that was incredible, wasn't it? Just chit-chatting with some fabulous wives now. This has been so much fun. So if you are a bride that has worked with me in the past for any reason, could be bridal alterations, custom gown, custom any other project, vintage redesigns, blah, 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 the list goes on. If you have worked with me before, I would love to have you on one of these podcast episodes talking about real women that I've worked with. So I have certainly sent out emails before, but if you haven't seen them, sometimes people have like that wedding email address that they don't use after the wedding I send stuff to. Just DM us, email us, whatever it is. Honestly, email's the best. Email is always the best. hello@sarahcolas.com. But that was so much fun. And I'm so honored to be able to work with the people that I do. This has been just a great time. I'll see you next time. There will be more episodes of this series, interviewing more previous brides that I've worked with. So thanks so much. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode has allowed you to approach the world with greater confidence in your own personal style. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out through email or the inquiry form on the website. I hope you are all ready to go and get dressed up. I look forward to sharing more dressing up tips with you in future episodes. Thanks so much.